Hello, and welcome to Stocks and Tarot. On this channel, we explore the world of finance through the magic of tarot. Today, we're going to take a look at the future of crypto. If you like this type of content, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. This is a new channel, and your support helps it grow and is very much appreciated. I'll be posting videos regularly, so be sure to come back and check out what the tarot has to say about the stock market and the world of finance. Now, there's been a lot of chaos in the crypto space these days, largely due to the recent FTX scandal that has rocked the finance world. I believe this tarot saw this coming. If you take a look at my previous video uploaded on October 25th, I explored a tarot spread I did on the 23rd of October. In this spread, I mentioned that I foresaw a huge scandal unfolding in the financial markets involving possible fraud and huge financial losses. Now, at the time, I interpreted the cards as suggesting that this shady activity would involve a company that was reporting during earnings season, as the question I had asked the tarot for this spread was focused on earnings. Now, tarot is not an exact science, but it's clear to me now that the tarot was actually warning about the FTX crypto meltdown, which happened shortly after this reading. Now, FTX filed for bankruptcy on November the 11th, and the scandal's still rocking the crypto space. You can check out this prediction by clicking on the link above. I started commenting on this drastic upcoming event at around 9 minutes 40 seconds. Now, onto the question for this video. In light of the fallout of the FTX situation, the question I asked the tarot was, is crypto dead? Now, the cards were very clear in their answer. The outlook is grim, I'm afraid, for crypto. But there is a ray of hope shining down on all of this chaos. Now, I'll give my intuitive interpretation and prediction at the end of the video, so stay with me as we explore the messages given us, because I found this spread to be profoundly accurate. Now, onto the cards. For this reading, I did a 3-card spread, plus I pulled 2 clarity cards. For those new to tarot or my channel, a 3-card spread represents the recent past, the current situation, and the near future. I often get jumper cards when I'm shuffling for a reading, and these cards are cards that jump out of the deck, and they add clarity to the reading for me. But with this spread, as I was shuffling, there were no jumpers, so I decided to pull 2 additional cards just for clarity. I also look at the bottom of the deck because that card, to me, speaks to the foundation of the reading and the current market sentiment. Now, I think you're going to find this spread very interesting. The cards I pulled were, for the recent past, the Moon card. Now, the Moon represents hidden enemies, danger, slander, darkness, terror, deception, and anxiety. It also speaks of a lack of clarity and confusion and uncertainty. That certainly seems appropriate for what crypto investors have been going through and the crypto space in general. Now, the card is a moon of the moon is a card of emotions. And I would say that it's a very accurate description of the emotional state of many crypto investors, especially as the FTX scandal is unfolding. In this reading, the moon says to me that there's a lot of mystery and fear surrounding crypto. The lack of regulation and the complexity of blockchain technology, I think, has created an aura of uncertainty and danger and made cryptocurrencies vulnerable to fraud and deceit. The position of the Moon card in the recent past suggests that this may soon be a thing of the past and that change is coming because the FTX scandal will most likely ramp up demand for regulation. There are those that would be opposed to that, but I think a lot of crypto investors today would welcome some sort of regulation in this space. That's my opinion. Now, I also like to look at numerology when I'm doing tarot readings. Numerology gives me more clarity when it comes to the messages the cards are trying to tell us. And now it's interesting to note that in numerology, the number associated with the moon card is the number 9. And the number 9 stands for independence, introspection, and solitude. Now, for a visual example of this, you just have to take a look at the Hermit Tarot card. The Hermit stands alone at the top of a mountain. He's just finished his journey to the top and is now taking a moment to reflect on his journey. He's also trying to illuminate the path ahead of him, if you take a look at the lantern that he's holding. Now, this tells us that a period of patience and reflection is needed before we can move forward, and to prevent making perhaps a bad investment, whether it's an investment of money or time or love, for that matter. Um, so I think the crypto space certainly stands independent and alone in the financial world. It's a bit of a financial hermit. And in my mind, since the FTX scandal, patience and introspection really are the words of the day when it comes to investing in crypto. So, with all that said, we're going to move on to the current situation. Now, the current situation, the card I pulled, is the Ten of Wands reversed. Now, this indicates collapse, breakdown, deeper economic trouble. It can stand for radical change, setbacks, and hidden things. A lot of stuff has been hidden, and certainly a lot of breakdown and deep economic trouble going on right now. So this seems to be quite accurate. Um, it's important, I think, to mention that in an upright position, the Ten of Wands is an optimistic card. It says that even though you're carrying a heavy burden, the end is in sight. If you take a look at the card, you'll notice the town in the foreground. The town isn't too far away, and the man who's carrying this burden is going to be able to lay that burden down somewhat soon. You know, he's not that far away, but in the reversed position, the Ten of Wands warns us that we're not actually going to be carrying that burden for a while. But, you know, with that said, all is not lost. Because in tarot, this card, this number associated with is number 10. And tens in tarot represent completion and the end of a cycle. Now, if you take a look at numerology, the Ten of Wands is associated with the number 1. And that's because in numerology, you add up all the numbers to come down to a single digit. And for the number 10, you would add, for example, 1 plus 0 to get the number 1. And in numerology, ones represent new beginnings. So here we have the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new one. And so, considering that this card is in the current situation, I would say that this card represents the state of the crypto market today. Obviously, collapse, breakdown, deep economic trouble, most definitely. But this card is also saying to expect radical change. One cycle is ending and a new beginning is just around the corner. So that leads us into, you know, other cards in the deck, which we'll get to momentarily, but particularly the Ace of Pentacles, because that's a ray of hope, and this is also giving the Ten of Wands right now is actually giving us a little bit of hope in spite of the dire messages that surround it. Now, moving into the near future. The card I pulled for this position was the Nine of Cups reversed. Excuse me. And the Nine of Cups represents unrealistic dreams, wishes not destined to become reality, shattered dreams, unhappiness, lack of fulfillment, disappointment. It can also mean a lack of success, failed financial goals, getting no returns on your investments. It can mean cover ups and disillusionment. And it can also mean that financial stability may not have yet happened, and that patience, here we go again, patience is going to be required. A lot of the same messages with these cards and their associated numbers, that's for sure. And with that said, if we look at numerology, we're back to the number 9. Independence, solitude, and introspection. And like I said, we're getting the same messages as with the previous cards in this spread. And those messages are reinforced by numerology. So it's pretty clear what's the story that's being told here. Now, in this position, the near future, the Nine of Cups reversed indicates that radical change is coming to this space. Crypto hasn't fulfilled its promise. Crypto investors will see disappointment and poor returns in the near future, and crypto is going to be left out in the cold in the near future as investors start putting their cash into other assets. But it looks like crypto winter is going to be for a while. Um, but, back to new beginnings and radical change coming. So that begs the question, is crypto dead? Well, let's take a look at a couple of the clarity cards to get more insight. Uh, So, as I mentioned earlier, I pulled two clarity cards for this reading. The first one was the Nine of Wands reversed, and then the Seven of Pentacles reversed. And I've noticed the number of cards in this reading that are actually in a reversed position as well. So that indicates a challenging situation, a very challenging situation, to say the least. So, back to the Knight of Wands. It stands for stubbornness, rigidity, defensiveness. It speaks to refusing compromise and giving up. Um, it can represent avoiding financial pressures and trying to escape financial stress. It also speaks to a need to take responsibility. And maybe we're flogging a dead horse. Are we looking at stagnation? It can mean retreat, giving up, withdrawal, isolation. It can also mean, it can also speak to missing cash or valuables, setbacks, delays. So, this card reverse speaks to a stubbornness and a need to take responsibility. It also represents giving up and a stagnation, delays, back to flogging a dead horse, and missing valuables and money. You know, it's pretty clear to me that the message here is that the crypto space is going to be stagnant for some time until some type of regulation is put in place. And this is to reassure investors that their money is safe because money is only going to go where it's safe to do so. And that's just reality. To numerology, we have to take a look at the number nine again. And here we are, independence, solitude, and introspection. Definitely seems to be a pattern here with this spread, that's for sure. Now, for the second card, we're going to take a look at the Seven of Pentacles reversed. And the Seven of Pentacles represents a lack of growth. Here we go, setbacks, impatience, frustration. It speaks to a lack of reward, losses, little compensation. It speaks to investments not paying off and poor returns, cash flow problems, staying poor while others grow wealthy. And, looking at the cash flow problems, I have to say, I think FTX has some serious cash flow problems to say the least. And again, just certainly a theme here. The cards keep saying the same messages over and over here. It's pretty obvious. And in regards to numerology, the number seven, the Seven of Pentacles, the number seven represents reflection and assessment. And here we go back to the Hermit card, right? Like time of reflection and assessment. Now, finally, we're going to take a look at the bottom of the deck. And as I mentioned previously, the bottom of the deck was the Ace of Pentacles. Now, this is a good card, and it's nice to see a good card show up in this spread because the Ace of Pentacles speaks to new opportunities, abundance, prosperity, financial security, stability. It can mean investing in the future. It can mean a new financial journey. It speaks to manifestation and getting things done. So this card is the only ray of sunshine breaking through all this darkness. And in spite of the fear and the loss and the chaos, the Ace of Pentacles indicates that there is still hope out there for investors and that this current situation is going to turn around. Because with the Ace of Pentacles, new opportunities and new possibilities await you. Now, in regards to numerology, it's an ace card, and that means we're back to the number one. New beginnings and the start of a new cycle. Um, Again, this ties in nicely with the previous cards and their messages of crypto reaching the end of the cycle and new beginnings and opportunities ahead. So there's definitely some hope here. Is if this reading is any indication, there's hope. Now, as I said, it's a bottom card, so to me that represents the foundation of this reading, and so the main message here is clear. Again, don't lose hope. In spite of everything, don't lose hope. I think as far as market sentiment too, I think there is a feeling of hope in the crypto space. You know, People keep buying and they're still trading crypto, and it seems to be trading in a range for a while um, recently. And anyway, I think there's hope there, and that's a good thing because there's a future for crypto. Um, According to the cards, this new era coming of stability, abundance, prosperity, and continued investment. And what's required first, though, is patience and assessment and introspection for investors to figure out what's needed in order to create that stability and that renewed prosperity. So, to sum it all up, my intuitive interpretation of all this, the crypto space is going to see a long period of stagnation and loss, but it's because resistance to regulation and a stubbornness to stay out of the mainstream financial industry will ensure that crypto goes nowhere for a while. And I see an extended period of stagnation. You know, the space is not going to recover at the same time that the stock and bond markets do. It's going to be left alone in the cold. And I also sense, before all this is said and done and this new beginning is upon us, that there's going to be more fraud and deceit discovered and exposed. Unfortunately, in this space, I sense that too. But back to the future, radical change and new beginning is coming. And this is going to be positive. So, perhaps regulation and stability eventually will come to the crypto space. I think it will, but not for a while. Right now, this current situation is an opportunity for regulators to put in place guardrails that's going to protect investors. And I believe that this will happen, but it's not going to happen quickly or easily. So I feel that crypto is not dead yet. It's just in a coma. But for how long? Well, only time will tell. And that's the way I see it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I'd also love it if you would share your thoughts about this reading and what's going on in the crypto space these days. So be sure to leave a comment below. Thanks again, and see you next time.